What's happening, gents? Back again. So today's something a bit different. Usually I work on my Suzuki V-Strom, but today I'm going to be doing a oil and filter change on my Honda CBR1000RR 2009. Just literally took it for an MOT, passed with flying colours, but on the way back one of the fairing clips broke, but thankfully I do have a spare one. Your side brakes on the right hand side, that's the part number. But the aim of today is just to do an oil and filter change. So obviously I've just been for a ride, so the oil's nice and warm, so it'll drain a lot easier. But first things first, what I'm going to do is just removing this bottom belly pan. There's a bolt there, bolt at the back, and around this side there's a bolt there, and another bolt. Is it just the one bolt on this side, I believe? Oh no, around there. So undo them 4 bolts to either side and we can get that belly pan off. But before I do that, I'm gonna undo the bolt here just to pull this fairing away a little bit, because it's easier to unclip this belly pan whilst these are a bit loose. Right, so once you've undone them 4 bolts either side of the belly pan, it just simply drops down. I like to put a bit of cardboard underneath the bike because obviously this is a concrete garage floor. I don't want to scratch anything when removing this. So now that's out of the way, that gives us good access to the oil filter and the sump plug. That's all you need to take off. I do take, as I mentioned, these side ones off just to allow a little bit of flex in the fairing when I'm clipping it all from the bottom here. You can see there's clips. Unfortunately one broke on that side, but there's clips there. But yeah, so that's all out of the way, and I'll show you whereabouts the sump plug, where the sump plug is on the bike. Actually, you can see it right there, look. So now the belly pan's off the bike, you can easily get on the sump plug, which is just right there. 12mm socket, and simply crack it off. Now I'm going to get my little catch can, unwind that, and start draining the oil. Like so. The oil's quite clean coming out of this because I don't do that many miles on this bike, but I do like to change it at least once a year. Right, so I've just cracked off the oil filter. Can unwind that now. I just used a pair of big grips, grabbed hold of it, and spun it, cracked it off. Should be wearing gloves for this really. And then that's off. And let that drain out. Right, so once all the oil's drained out of the filter housing and the sump, which is just still dripping a little bit there, that's pretty much all gone. So I can reinstall the drain plug. Like so, and then I can torque this up to 30 Newton meters. Right, so set the torque wrench to 30 Newton meters. Just to make you aware, there's a little washer, little crush washer on that sump plug there, so make sure you change that. There we go, that's torqued up to 30 Newton meters. So the next step would be to reinstall the new oil filter. Now I'm currently waiting for that to turn up, so I'm just going to clean up around the O-ring surface of this oil filter, the front face there, and then when the oil filter turns up we can then crack on and resume. Right boys, so a couple of days later I'm now back. New oil filter's finally turned up. I'm using a high flow Filtro HF204, and the oil I'll be using will be the Silcolene Comfort 1040. You can use 1030 or 1040 in this bike, just depending where you live and the temperatures that you'll be subjected to, but 1040 is fine. This new oil filter, the O-ring comes pre-greased, as you can see there, so, but if you was to fit an oil filter when this O-ring's dry, just get some oil and smear it around the O-ring. And obviously before you fit the new oil filter, you want to make sure the face of the actual oil filter housing is obviously nice and clean. So now I can go ahead and screw on this new oil filter, and then we can get the oil in the bike and fire it up. So just screw on the new oil filter, and I'm just going to do this up tight by hand. If you do have the proper oil filter wrench that goes over the top of this, it's 26 Newton meters, but tightening it up by hand will be more than enough. That's basically tight enough. I'm just going to get a proper grip on it and give it a few more nips, but yeah, that's basically it. So once your oil filter's all tightened up, simply just undo the oil filler cap. And now if you do an oil and filter change on this bike, it's 3 litres you have to put in the bike. So you can take the oil filler cap off, the O-ring might get stuck, but I can stay, that'll be fine, as long as it's there when I put the cap back on. So I've measured out 2 litres here. I'm going to dump this lot in, measure out another litre and dump it in. And then what I'll do is, before putting the belly pan back on the bike, I'll fire it up and check for any leaks. And then I'll let it sit and do a final check with the dipstick at the bottom. Right, so that's 3 litres of oil put into the bike. Next thing to do is turn her on and start it up. And this red light here is the oil pressure light, so this will probably stay on for a little bit longer than you usually expect it to, but that should extinguish once it fills up that oil filter. When we get oil pressure, that'll go out. There we go. So now this is running, what we'll do is we'll go around and check. Make sure there's no leaks. Make sure there's no leak around the sump plug. That's all good. Turn it off before I gas myself, but yeah, you get the idea. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the cardboard back down, and then I can screw that belly plate on, and then we'll do a final oil level check. Right, so fit the belly pan. Not going to lie, it was a bit of a pain in the arse, but just try not to force anything. I'm getting all the clips to clip in around this side bit of fairing, but you'll sort of work it out. But yeah, just don't force anything. Try and make sure they all slide in nicely, and then put your screws in. So now obviously the bike's sat for a while. The next step would be to undo the dipstick. And what we're going to do is just like a car. This one, obviously, this bike don't have an oil sight glass like the Suzuki. So we've got a dipstick here. So undo that. And what I'm going to do is just wipe this dipstick clean, and then put it back in the bike. Don't screw it in, and then just take it out. And it should be, if this camera will focus. Is it going to focus? I don't even know. But basically, you've got you've got 2 lines on that dipstick. It's got to be in the middle or near the full. If it's near the minimum, you've got to top some more up. Oh, this ain't focusing. But yeah, you get the idea. It's just like a car. So in my case, when I checked the oil level, it was between the minimum and maximum. So I just added another 100 ml of oil into the engine. So it was a total of 3.1 litres I used in this, but obviously, just put in the 3 litres, check it and see where you're at before you add in, before you think you might need some more engine oil or whatever. Because obviously, you can always add, but to take it out, you then have to drain it out. So you don't want to overfill it. Between minimum and maximum is all good. And obviously another thing to mention, you want to make sure the bike's in its level position when doing this. So I've just used a front paddock stand and a rear paddock stand, and it's as if the bike is dead centre upright. You can sit on the bike and reach down and dip it. That's what I do when I can't be bothered to get the paddock stands out, if I just want to do a quick oil level check. But yeah, you've got to make sure in the upright position. Don't obviously check it on its side stand. But yeah, that's basically it, lads. So that's how to do an oil and filter change on a CBR1000 2009 plate, but it ranges from 2008, I think, upwards to, I believe, 2015 or something like that. It'd be the same sort of process. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.